I'm not against, but I don't think it's right to say, okay, I'm just going to buy code stuff. I don't think that's the way to go. So some basic software development knowledge you need to have. Also, you need to be passionate. And it might sound a little bit cliche, but you need to have the willingness of start doing stuff. Otherwise, it won't work. And it applies with or without AI, right? Yeah. The best teams are the ones that people is passionate and also have agency, meaning that you can decide on a strategy. You can define within your team how to reach the goals that you are committed.
Hello. How are you?
I'm good, thanks.
Great. Welcome to the conversation. The idea is to have informal, fluid conversation about topics about the technology today, the evolution of technology, how we see the technology and the impact in our industry and our clients' industry in the next few years. But before we go to the future, I wanted to start with a little bit of your career up until this point. First, what drove you to being in this industry? What was the curiosity behind it?
My mother, she's like, before software engineering was introduced at college, she studied something similar. Mm-hmm. And I was close to computers and what she was doing, like, since I was a kid. So I knew I was going to be involved with building stuff around computers since I was a kid, I would say. And actually, I didn't have any doubt. Like, since I went to a technical high school, then I was picking between two different universities, but it was the same kind of like career path, I would say.
Do you see, since that moment of curiosity and you seeing your mother work with computers and all that stuff, do you keep the same curiosity?
Oh, yes, for sure. Actually, the joke that, it's not that a joke, is that I find myself time for programming when my wife and kid are sleeping. So nice. It's like, well, we need to go to bed so I can sit down and start doing stuff. So yeah, I still do that.
Oh, that's awesome. At the beginning, how was the beginning of your career? How did you start as a developer? As what type of technology were you using at the moment?
I started as like just plain standard developer, but there are two, or at least a few things that are interesting. For example, I still work. So I did my whole the college. I went to the college and I'm still working at Globant, and I did almost all my career, professional and non-professional, with the same people. Oh, wow. Which is Eileen, she's my boss. Yeah. And yeah, I started like programming in a small dev shop. They used to have tons of things regarding trading. So I was working on an Microsoft Excel plugin to download data and do some stuff for a US customer. But there it was interesting because what I learned there is to interact with that person. I was the only person. There was no manager, no anyone. I was just discussing the scope and the things that needed to be done with the customer directly. So that's where I started speaking English every day and trying to take care of the project, my own time, etc.
At that moment, the tools that you were using were completely different to the ones that you're using right now, right?
Yeah, actually, the joke that we have with Eileen is that we used to program in Silverlight, which is a technology that I think it's now deprecated. Yeah. So, yeah.
Yeah. And the technologies changed. Did they become simpler or more complex?
I would say, if I need to be honest, more complex. And I think that's one of the main problems that people have with this AI vibe coding thing. So you have someone random at internet that's willing to do something because they can download any cursor, whatever, any other tool, and they can start doing stuff. Yeah. But what happens is that if you want to do like a web app, you need to know about front end, backend for front end. Then you have the backend. Then you have the database. So the stack went so big. That's why you have front end people and back end people, right? And back then just with PHP, you were able to do whatever you wanted to do.
I remember that when I started, I had a past of programmer,
Okay.
but I got to PHP.
Okay.
When everything else got more complicated, I said, okay, this is not definitely not for me. But there was still, I think there's a shared curiosity with people that work in the industry of building things and trying to get your hands dirty with the code and seeing things happen. You have that curiosity since you were very little. What challenges were you facing at the young age, and your challenges are facing right now, maybe with the frustration with the technology or those things?
Well, I remember that coding back then, I mean, I'm young, so I started coding with internet, but there was no, I don't recall that having Stack Overflow or any other good source of information when I was coding. So I had to spend tons of time looking for stuff that I wanted to do. Nowadays, I don't even open Google. Well, now we have this tab, which is AI something within Google, but I think it's way much simpler to look for those pieces that you need to build stuff if you know what you want to build and how to do it.
Do you find that coding used to be or could be an isolated activity? Do you find it to be more and more collaborative, or is it still?
Well, yes. Actually, one thing that I really like coding is tools for developers. So even for people that don't like to interact that much, I like to interact with.
Yeah.
I would say that if you want to code something for yourself to automate anything that you have, that's nice. You don't need to interact with people. But I find it's really interesting when you can develop something that someone else is going to use. Even though it's just one person, it's really nice. For example, I was kind of like fighting with my wife, trying to get her to write down the expenses that she was doing during the day, right? And I said, okay, she's a graphic designer. She was not going to do any Excel at all. So I coded like a simple bot, like where she was able to say, I spent $20 at the supermarket. So, and she was doing it. And it was, for me, was great. I was able to export that and use it within my own spreadsheets. And it was super cool. And it was just one user.
The importance of creating something with the customer at the center, right? With the
exactly.
user in mind.
Yeah, exactly.
That's amazing. Do you see that, for example, that ability, very often people that focus on development have very technical skills, and the user-centric aspect of it is not always there. Do you see that added a value into your career to put yourself in the place of the user?
Yeah, yes, of course. You have to, like, it's a blend, right? You need to be user-centered, but it's not just about how do they click or the user flows. It's, okay, if the user is opening a website, it needs to load fast. If it needs to be fast, right? I cannot wait for 5 minutes to send a bank transaction. So it's about the technical
and
experience.
Performance.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But also, obviously, I need to know where the button should be. Right?
Yeah, definitely. As you were saying, the tools and the technology has become complex, right? In the past few years, we've seen what at the beginning felt like, okay, this is going to simplify everything with this new wave of AI. And now we're seeing that the ecosystem of AI tools and services is more and more complex. I'm curious about how you as a developer, as a senior developer, saw the beginning of this wave of AI. Did you see it as a hopeful? Do you see it as a threat? Were you confused for it?
No, actually, I'm quite amazed. I'm building more software than ever at night, but also like, we had this. For example, I play tennis, right? And we have this tournament within the club that I go, and we wanted to have something. And within just 2 hours, I created a WhatsApp bot so you could get your matches and then add results, etc. I spent 2 hours. I think I spent more time trying to buy a phone number using Twilio than actually coding whatever I had to code. Yeah. Obviously, I knew what I wanted to do. I knew the tools. I knew where I wanted to deploy this. I knew where the data was going to be located. But yeah, I'm super. I'm a big fan of doing these kind of things. I mean, I'm happy that I have these tools.
It feels like the skills right now of somebody that wants to get into technology are more around what you were saying of having clarity of what you need to do, what problem you're trying to solve, and how to structure the architecture of it all, than to just know that the actual tools for development, which there's so many right now. Is that right?
Yes. I would say that if you ask me to use any coding agent, I would say most of them are similar. I know I kind of like you understand the patterns that you need to follow to use them. But being kind of like a generalist, I would say like understand a little bit of everything. So you could say, okay, I need to create a service. Okay, I need an API. I know how to create an API. And being able to say, to make sure that whatever the AI is generating makes sense, right? Because it's not 100%. And most of the time not, but quite often you will need to say to the AI, no, this is not the way to do it. But also it's pointless if you need to describe everything, right? Like write 2 pagers just to get something done. So you need to learn the tools, but also you need to be good at pointing out what you want.
You do have right now, you have teams of people, you lead other developers. Looking back at all the progress that technology has made in the past few years, what are the skills that you are more interested in somebody to be part of your team or to be with you? What are the skills that are necessary today as somebody that wants to be in this field, in this industry, and that wants to keep growing in seniority, in experience? What is more important today?
First of all, basic computer science principles, for sure. I'm not against, but I don't think it's right to say, okay, I'm just going to vibe code stuff. I don't think that's the way to go. So some basic software development knowledge you need to have. Also, you need to be passionate. And it might sound a little bit cliche, but you need to have the willingness of start doing stuff. Otherwise, it won't work. And it applies with or without AI, right? Yeah. The best teams are the ones that people is passionate and also have agency, meaning that you can decide on a strategy. You can define within your team how to reach the goals that you are committed to, right? So I would say that understanding your limitations, understanding tooling limitations, and having basic computer science knowledge, it's above good enough to have something that will get you succeed for sure.
That's amazing. Yeah. Do you see that often? Because there's this conversation that new technologies, are going to replace us, and we don't know. And still, at the same time, as you were saying, we're building more software than ever, and we're still building tools, and we're finding problems to solve. Do you see that those skills are present right now, or for somebody that wants to reinvent themselves or update themselves, is that something that is abundant right now, or is just a few people have it?
Well, I don't know. I think it's completely achievable. There is tons of material. You don't need to read like big size books to learn stuff. The good thing is that you can sit down and start doing and learning while you're doing.
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't know. I think there is tons of people interested in these kind of things and talented, and yeah, and they should not feel threatened about AI replacing their jobs. That's my best bet today.
Yeah. What are you focusing most of your energy today?
I'm mostly working on innovation for digital network or digital studios. So it's about finding new ways to do some stuff. Either if it's big or small, approaching our customers, or making some of our processes a little bit more efficient. That's what interested.
That's perfect with AI today. because
Exactly. Well, yeah, exactly. Yeah. So I would say no, like AI takes 80% of my attention regarding innovation. I would say.
Right. And in the work that we do constantly with our clients, we see that a lot of our clients they do want to adopt AI, but very often they either are blocked by the fear that, or they don't know how to implement it, or it's too big for them to handle, or they have internal processes that make it very bureaucratic for it to adopt. What's your experience with clients or with CTOs that are going through that experience right now?
Yeah, it's kind of like everyone is willing to do something.
Yeah.
And they have the budget. But what I think, and that's where we help, is try to route those needs to actual KPIs that they care about. Those KPIs could be anything. It's like being more like cost reduction or brand awareness. It doesn't matter. But those KPIs needs to be linked to any initiative that they make. Therefore, if you are working on something, regardless if it's just a small proof of concept or something big, you make sure that that will impact their businesses within their KPIs that they are taking care of, right? So being able to help them discover those KPIs, it's the first step. Second step is trying to understand how will they consume this. Sometimes they say, yeah, well, we have tons of data, we want to do something, and then it ends up like data is not there for them to be consumed, right? And we have great processes. We have a framework to introduce AI transformation, which targets all those different things with a team composed by multiple people. You have like product people, but also you have data scientists and data engineers and business hackers, just to make sure that those projects have an impact on your KPIs.
Yeah, it's still, it sounds very multidisciplinary.
Yes,
right?
yes, indeed. And what I'm trying to push, and I think we are all in sync, at least with the people that I work with, is that it's not just about consultancy, like delivering like a 25 slides deck and a huge PDF with all the reasoning. It's about delivering something that increases those KPIs. So actually executing the projects.
Yeah, to build something that can be used by the business very quickly.
Exactly.
Right?
Exactly.
Do you feel that, what role does culture play in all of this?
It's super important, actually, because there are like many things that affect adoption, right? It's not just about, okay, yeah, I'm going to use this tool. It's people saying, I'm afraid that I'm going to get fired, right? So sitting down with people and explaining how the solution that you're making, now with AI, but even before it was the same kind of process, sitting with them and explaining how these new solutions will help them and make their life easier, and they will earn more money, or their KPIs that they care about. If you are like a senior person within the company that's going to receive the software, will be enhanced. It's something that requires someone that can teach you, someone that can explain you. So yeah, I do think, and actually within the AI transformation framework, there is some component about what we call cultural hacking, which is like helping people to adopt these kind of things.
Do you remember maybe in the past year or so, do you remember a project, an account, something that was a use case, something that was really challenging, and at the same time, very often the most challenging projects also give you a sense of, wow, we did this, accomplishment. And on the other hand, do you have that feeling in the past 12 months?
Another project that I found that it's super interesting, I wasn't directly involved within it, but it's kind of weird, is what if we could use AI to analyze current papers, medical papers, and decide which drugs or like medicines should be promoted based on the things that we are analyzing, right? So you could say, hey, for example, you should push for some specific heart molecule, it's the proper name I learned, based on the different papers that are around. So in the past, you had people reading the papers, and then when they had to solve those medicines, they had to read tons of papers. What if we can extract that in an easy way? I think that's super interesting, not just because this is for a specific pharmaceutical company, but what if we could do that for a country, right? That's super.
That's insane.
Yeah, it's insane. Yeah.
That's really cool. We see every day, you see new use cases of how to apply AI, whether it is for health, as you said, or finance, or travel, or everything else. Are you hopeful for what's coming on the developments of AI? Are you looking for, I hope it gets to this point where we can do this and that thing? What do you hope that it can bring?
I'm super positive, and it will get tons of new opportunities, and not just business opportunities, that of course, but also like new things that are going to happen within, like things that we didn't think that we could do, right? Obviously, AI is not new. Machine learning, deep learning are not concepts that are brand new, but I think that generative AI has cracked the UX, and you can get people to do stuff. Like you can get your aunt, your grandma use ChatGPT, right? That's super cool. That's super cool.
For your particular use case, not just your wife entering the finance or the tennis match, for your personal career development, what do you look for in the next 5 years? How do you see yourself or people that have similar roles as you? How do you think it's going to evolve?
Well, I was chatting with someone, and I'm super happy that I think the time for builders, geeks, and doers, it's more clear than ever, right? So there is no excuse for people to start coding more and more and more. So I'm super bullish about it. I'm extremely happy. Now I have some time to code. Like I'm 80% of the day coding. So I'm super happy.
That's so cool, dude.
Yeah.
A lot of things are going to change in the next few years. Hopefully, as you were saying, creativity, it's going to be there. What things do you think are not going to change in the next few years that are still going to be the same?
I'm terrible at guessing the future, but I think that I'm not expecting, at least in the short term, removing what we named quality gates, human quality gates, like people actually accepting what's being generated by an AI, like a coding agent or something like that. I'm expecting AI could help you, like finding an issue on a production system, creating a pull request or something like that, proposing a fix. I'm not expecting that fix to go directly to production, or at least the ones that are easy, trivial, and won't affect, I don't know, a payment flow. That's fine. I'm not expecting getting rid of human supervision in the short term. I might be wrong, like since tomorrow.
We'll see in the next few years, but I get
think,
your point.
Yeah, we need to be in control, to supervise, and make sure that things are going to be okay. Obviously, every week we get a new model with best capabilities, although benchmarks might be overfit, like models might be overfit for benchmarks. But I have the feeling that you need someone to make accountable, right? So the responsibility is going to stay within us.
Talking about how to incorporate AI into these big companies and large enterprises, if you had to talk, or when you talk to CEOs, and they have this responsibility and this big challenge of adopting AI, what are a few very important things that you would advise or that you would guide them to incorporate AI today?
The first one, I keep repeating myself, but KPIs are super important. So try to look for opportunities that will have a positive impact on their KPIs. And again, it doesn't need to be earning more money, getting more revenue. That's something super important. That's fine. But there might be other KPIs that you might be interested in, and try to make sure that any initiative targets those KPIs. That's one thing. And the other thing that I realize it's kind of like a consequence of this process is whenever you are doing this AI transformation process, you start analyzing the work that you do every day, right? Your processes, and regardless if you end up implementing something or not, spending the time reviewing the processes that might have happened like they were defined 10 years ago and were never reviewed. You don't know if they are fine or not, or you are just doing because people is doing them. That's something that has value by itself, right? So spending time analyzing what you are doing, how everything is being coordinated within your companies, that's something that I think it's more, even I would say, could be more valuable than introducing some AI agentic solution to solve any specific problem.
That's awesome. So KPIs all the way.
Yes.
And then also pay attention to internal processes and how you're working to achieve your goals, right? Very often that is overlooked, and there's a lot of value in there, right?
Yeah, and actually spending time analyzing how can AI transform your business will make you think about that part, and that's the best thing, I would say.
Awesome. As a last thing,
Okay.
we want you to exercise your creativity
Okay.
and think about the future and how everything will be, how AI will play a role, how technology will evolve, and how you see the role of technology and the role of doers and builders in all of this, and consolidate it into an illustration, into something they want to leave as your legacy for everybody.
Okay. I'll do it.
You can walk us through it, or you can just spit it out.
It's quite simple, but it has. I think it has like a. Oh, I cannot try. There we go. An
There
infinite.
you go. Can you walk us through it? Can you explain a little bit?
Yeah. So as opposed to many people saying this is the end of the world. Oh, okay. I need to show it. So as opposed to what people might think, this is the end of the world and we will be replaced by machines and software, which it would be kind of cool if you haven't seen Terminator. I would say that tons of opportunities of doing new stuff and things that you weren't considering within any part of our daily lives are now possible. Like, for example, for this expenses thing, for me writing something that could grab the expense and sending it somewhere, now I think it might take me 2 hours to make, and I could also create like AI augmented so it could understand what my wife was saying in natural language. So that's just a simple, really stupid example, but tons of things that are doing within businesses can be redefined with these new technologies that they are like really easy to access to.
That's so cool. Alan, thank you very much for this conversation. It's very inspiring to see somebody that has been doing this for so long to be so inspired today and to be very curious about the future. So thank you very much.
Thank you.